Let's see here. What are we doing? Why do we have Susie Garrett up on there? We want gallery view. There we go. Hi, good morning, and welcome to the Art of Rapport webinar. Appreciate your coming, and it's nice to meet you. I see Susie is here, so nice to meet you, Susie. Glad you came. We have a bunch of other people who signed up for today, so we'll give them like one more minute to get here so that we can start on time. Kind of a stickler for keeping as close to what I said I would do as possible. And sometimes it's really not possible to do. But I will do my best today to stick to the 30 minutes. I know your time is valuable, and I know you wouldn't be here unless you were actually interested in the topic, which is the art of rapport. It's curious. I want to talk a little bit today about what rapport isn't and what it is and why it might be of value to you. Now, I don't know whether you're a coach who is here because you're interested in becoming better at coaching or learning about NLP, or if you're simply here for personal growth and interested in exactly what is rapport and how can you use it more fully in your daily life. So I'll try to answer all of those questions in the next 30 minutes. So my name is Ragini Michaels, and I guess you know that since you got all the things that told you about this webinar. So the reason why I'm doing this for you is because I really believe in skill as being probably the most important component of creating a successful business, particularly if you're a coach or if you work with people in almost any context where you're actually listening to people and helping them move from a place where they're having a problem towards the solution. I want to talk about a little bit today, and the reason I want to do that is because it's helped me have a private practice for over 4 decades, purely by having clients refer other people to me. Now, I said before that's a blessing, and it certainly is. And the part of it that I made a lot of effort to bring to that was learning how to develop skill and utilize it in a particular way. Now, NLP, which stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, is what I'm going to be taking this information from, that body of knowledge. Neuro-Linguistic Programming stands for how the brain, which is neuro, linguistic is language. So how the brain is influenced by language, neuro-linguistic programming to produce behavior. So a lot of NLP is focused on how one can do that. Let's see, I'm not sure why we have this person up on the screen. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. Here, participants. Okay, so let me do this, stop video. Ah, I did it. Thank you, Elizabeth, and hi, Catherine, and welcome here today. Again, all of you. Let me close that up. Okay, so let me jump in here and tell you a little bit about why I felt this was important to share. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about a student of mine that I had, it's almost 20 years ago, in an NLP certification training in Mallorca in Spain, it's a little island off the coast of Spain. And in that training, I met this young man who really wanted to help people and become better at what he was doing because he wasn't having very much success. Part of that was because his personality was such that he had sort of off-put people. He kept putting people off by the way in which he related to them. He was kind of perceived as a troublemaker with a good heart, but very difficult to be around and to connect with. So he took this training, and in the process of learning how to utilize rapport, what it was and how to create it as a skill, he went on after that training to become very good. I was shocked at how good he was when he was in the context of being a coach. And he went on to continue to have a career that kept growing. And now he lives in Europe, and he has a thriving practice where he is working with people. And he's quite happy with his abilities to have generated the ability to do rapport, because that was the big thing. Hi, Christina. I'm going to put you on, I'm going to take you off video here, my dear, for right now. See you later. Nice to have you here. Yay. All right. So one of these days I'll figure out how to do that when you come on. I know how to mute you, but I'm not too sure yet how to keep you off the screen. But anyway, we'll put you all back on shortly. So I just wanted to share that little story about this student of mine who went on to change his life because he basically didn't know anything about rapport, and his personality got in the way of him being able to actually succeed in a private practice or in any kind of work, even within an agency, at getting the results that he wanted. So the key, I have a little outline here I made so I can keep myself on time here. I want to explain a couple of things. First of all, why rapport is important. Why should you bother learning about rapport in the first place? Well, if you're a coach, rapport is the #1 key that will help you get return clients. That is absolutely undeniable. If you have good rapport with your client, they will return. And it could be not for another year or 2 years, but they will keep coming back. I have people keep coming back that I worked with 5, 10 years ago, call me up and say, can I come back in for a tune-up? That is because of rapport, which is a basic skill. So what I'm trying to say here is you can learn how to develop rapport by understanding exactly what it is. The second reason you want to have rapport is because it unlocks your client's desire to shout their absolute adoration of what you've done for them from the rooftops. Okay, and that means referrals. Okay, and one of the best ways to keep a private practice running is return clients and referrals. And as I said before, I was blessed with having 4 decades of a private practice purely by having my clients refer other people to me. So I know for a fact that this skill is very powerful. The third reason is because when you know how to get rapport, you can transform even the most recalcitrant and difficult client into someone who becomes easy to work with and fun, and actually becomes a real creative challenge for you. So those are 3 reasons why you want to learn about rapport, particularly if you're in the business of coaching or helping people. So the first thing here, got this again, I've got to figure out how to do this so that it does not happen every time somebody comes on. Nice to see you. Hello. I'm going to put you off camera for a moment. We'll come back on later, okay? Thank you, Shivam. Thanks. Okay, so, oops, there we go. So first of all, what rapport isn't? The most common understanding of rapport is that it occurs when someone likes you. Well, this is not actually rapport according to neurolinguistic programming, NLP. Rapport is not when people like you. It is not when they answer your questions easily. It isn't because you resonate, because you come from the same state or have the same kind of background where you grew up. It isn't established because you listen avidly and don't ask very many questions. And these are kind of some of the answers that I've gotten from people who are in helping professions when I ask them what rapport is. So what I'm saying very clearly is that is not what rapport is at all in the world of neurolinguistic programming. So what is it? So in the world of NLP, which I'm sharing with you because it's such a powerful skill and it can change lives and careers, even if you don't do anything else with NLP, all right? So that's how powerful it is. So what is it? It is when the unconscious mind of the person you're working with trusts you. It's when you can verify that the unconscious mind of that person trusts you. And when you can then communicate with the unconscious mind because it trusts you, and you know that it does because you have verified it and you know it to be in play, that it's actually happened. That's part of the skill set, is to be able to do that. I'm referencing my little outline here so I don't miss anything, because 30 minutes is a short period of time. So I want to I got my thoughts organized for you. So why bother? with an unconscious mind, okay? And there are various reasons why it's incredibly important to be able to get the other person's unconscious mind to trust you and to listen to you and to be willing to communicate with you. So here's the first thing is think of an iceberg. The part of the iceberg that's above the water here, right, is the conscious mind. The part of the iceberg that's below the water, which is that huge thing that goes on down into the bottom of the sea, is the unconscious mind. So the unconscious mind is the one that has an enormous amount of power. Why? Well, first of all, it's big, much bigger than the conscious mind. So it holds a lot more information in its arms. The second reason is because in order for change to happen for a person, the unconscious mind has to give its permission. That's how much power it has. It is totally in control of the behavior that your client or you are producing that you don't like. If you want to change your behavior from the world of NLP, you must be able to establish rapport, that's getting trust, with the unconscious mind, be able to verify it, and then be able to communicate with the unconscious mind in the specific ways that there are to communicate with the unconscious mind. And you're going to get a download for having come to this seminar that will tell you, I gives you 7 simple ways to start actually building rapport with the unconscious mind. In a way, 7 ways you can start going, hello, unconscious mind over there in that other person. Hi, I'm listening for you. I understand you're there. That sounds silly, and yet it's incredibly powerful when you step into the attitude that there is an unconscious mind, that it is in control and in charge of behavior. So you have to have its permission, and that it has the power to either embrace or veto the change, the behavior change that the client is asking for. Now, the main modus operandi of the unconscious mind is keeping the status quo. Why is that? Because the unconscious mind, because nobody ever talks to it or tells it anything, it doesn't realize oftentimes that the environment has changed. And so a behavior that was working to protect the client is no longer actually either needed or it doesn't work anymore because things have changed. So it's quite a curiosity that your own unconscious mind doesn't know when a behavior is no longer working to serve you, because its whole purpose is to serve you by keeping you safe and alive. So safety and survival are the primary drives of your unconscious mind. So because it doesn't know when something is no longer accurate, because nobody ever talks to it, right? It just keeps right on producing that old behavior, and you try to change it from your conscious mind, and it's not going to work because your unconscious mind is unaware. Nobody's told it that it's no longer a behavior that's working. All right. And this is why it's important to be able to communicate with the unconscious mind. You can give it an update. It's like taking your operating system and upgrading it to the newer version. You can think of it that way. You can't do it without rapport. Rapport is what absolutely allows you to connect with the unconscious mind and, most importantly, to communicate with it so that you can let it know what's going on and answer any objections or concerns that it has about taking this new behavior and putting it in your client's behavior or your behavior. So it's really important because the unconscious mind is conditioned and it's mechanical. It's conditioned and it's mechanical. When you're a kid and you grow up, it's conditioned into your brain, which then in turn takes root in your unconscious mind, the way you're supposed to be in life, all of your beliefs and your attitudes. And then they are set up at the unconscious level to run via your brain because it's coded those behaviors that you've learned. Okay. and in your brain. And so when you reach a certain situation, like say, when you're in a group of people, you've been taught, if you're from the Midwest like me, all right, you always, always are nice. You never are rude. You don't interrupt. And that's one pattern that was a childhood pattern. Many of us get our patterns from childhood. I should say all of us get our patterns from childhood. I don't like those universal statements. So we'll say most, all right? And you get this idea in your mind, and not only is it in your mind, it's coded into your neurology. And then your language supports it because you say to yourself, I can't be rude. So you end up perhaps being very quiet. I learned how to be invisible, right? So I didn't become rude, right? Now, that was a pattern that was not valuable to me as I continued to grow and decided I wanted to have more of a presence in the world. But my unconscious mind said, no, 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 you can't be rude, and you're not supposed to show up, right? And be a big person or whatever it is you want to be. It's not okay. So in order to change that, you have to have rapport with the part of the mind that's in charge of keeping that behavior in place. Now, without rapport, again, it's not possible, because our definition of rapport in neurolinguistic programming is the ability to create trust with the unconscious mind, verify that you have it, and then be free to communicate with that mind. Again, why? Because you have to have its permission for behavior to change. Now, I'm sure that you have tried to change your own behavior or a client's behavior and not been doing well at getting that outcome. The first thing you want to check, if you're in any circumstance, even whether you're a coach or a person just in life, do you actually have rapport? Now, generating change for other people in circumstances outside of coaching or therapy or consulting isn't really appropriate. But you still want to have rapport with people, right? You still want to be able to get along. And it's very helpful when you learn some of the basic skills, which you're going to get on a handout that'll come to you either later today or tomorrow. I have to render this video so I can give you the link to it so you can watch it should you have to leave early today, or if you've not been here and you're watching it now. All right, so you'll get something that tells you where to go to get the download, which has, again, 7 basic things that you can do to start developing rapport according to neurolinguistic programming. All right, and I can tell you it does work. If you want to learn more about that, there are some books out there by Bandler and Grinder that talk about the basics of rapport. You can go to NLP University online. I think it's NLPU.org, NLPU.org, which is Robert Dilt's website. And you can learn more details about rapport there as well. And of course, you can come and study with me if you're into actually getting an NLP coach certification. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. So the key here is when you have a conditioned, almost mechanical, well, it's not almost, it is mechanical unconscious process. You cannot change behavior without getting the unconscious mind to say, oh, I get it. That's a better behavior to help you survive and to protect you. Okay, I'll let you do that, right? And then it allows the change that you've learned how to make to actually be received and installed, not just in your body and your behavior, but in your brain. Because remember, in neuro-linguistic programming, every behavior that you have in your life has a neurological coding in the brain that allows the direction to go from your thought, triggers the brain, triggers the action in the body. So your brain is an integral part of every single thing that you do. And that's why it has become so important now that we've learned more and more about the brain and how it works to be sort of the go-between between what you think and what you want and what you used to think you don't want anymore and what you used to do that you don't want to do anymore. Right? So the brain is incredibly important, and that's one of the big advantages of learning a little bit more about neurolinguistic programming. Whether you are a coach or not, just having the body of knowledge is extremely powerful. I've taught a lot of students who had no desire to be a coach, but really wanted to understand how their own mind worked and how they could work with themselves in order to expand their personal growth, their understanding, their spiritual clarity, whatever it was they were looking after. The other thing that's going on in today's world, okay, is there's a huge impact of speed on personal growth and professional development. Everything in today's world is about faster, better, more efficient, right? Whether or not we're actually getting there with all the things that are being created is a topic for another conversation. However, you can't deny the reality that speed is everywhere. It's become an incredibly high value for most people, particularly people who want to come and grow, right? They want it fast. They want it now. They want it actually yesterday, right? So speed has an impact on it. And because of the impact of speed, there's also, in the regular world, the issue of time constraints. There's so much more that we actually have to deal with in daily life that people who come for personal growth and personal transformation or come for professional development want it now, right? They want it fast. They want it, again, yesterday, right? Because today everything is supposed to be fast. If you're not fast, you're not good. Okay, that's kind of what goes on inside of our brain. If you're like me, I even succumb to it. I sit here and I get irritated because I have to wait 30 seconds for my computer to upload something. All right. I mean, it's silly, but it is where we are. So we have to acknowledge that and take it into consideration, because what that means for you as a coach is that you have to be able to work faster and more efficiently, but you're expected to have the same long-term results and effectiveness as when you could take longer and work more deeply with a client. And we say deeply because we think deep requires time. Actually, in reality, when you have a set of skills and you have rapport, and again, this is about the art of rapport. It's about what can happen when you realize that you have an unconscious mind. Even you as a person have an unconscious mind. You have to learn that you need to talk with your unconscious mind. If you don't want to go see somebody, you talk to your own unconscious mind. You learn how to integrate your conversations with something internal as well as external, because the power for change rests, again, in your unconscious mind, that part of the iceberg that is below that you cannot see. And part of the art of rapport is discovering what you can do to get the attention of the unconscious mind so that it knows that you know, right? It's there. It's kind of like the unconscious mind, in a way, does the same thing we do. When we meet somebody we like, we go, oh, I think that person kind of maybe looks at the world the same way I do, right? You notice how your friends and companions normally look at the world the same way you do. This is what you are attempting to communicate to the unconscious mind, all right? Whether it's your own or whether it's a client. You want it to know that, oh, you kind of live in the same world that I live in, right? And so that's a huge step forward in generating trust. We all trust people that are like us. You know that phrase, birds of a feather flock together? It's very true. So in a session, when you're working with a client, when you can establish rapport with this powerhouse that nobody sees, right, but does show up, that you can see because you will have learned how. And again, your download will give you 7 ways that you can start to go to the unconscious mind. Hey, 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 hello, I'm out here. I think your world is great. Look, here I am. And you're learning 7 ways to do that. They're very basic. There's a lot more things to learn, but I thought that was a good way to give you a taste. And again, if you want more, you can always connect with me. I have a free 30-minute consult you can call and we can talk. There's private sessions. Again, go online, learn what you can about rapport from all the people in the NLP world. There's a lot of them out there. Okay, Bandler, Grinder, Robert Dilts at NLPU. So I'm promoting them. There's also me at tohelpyouhelpothers.com. Don't forget about me. Okay, so today's clients want change fast, and they want it to be efficient and effective and have long-term lasting results. So the key to handling this conundrum of speed that makes you have to go faster, and the idea that depth can only be accessed whenever you have a long part of time. This is where rapport comes in very handy, and the skills that also go with it in the field of NLP. Okay, now, if you're a coach, this part is just for you, but it can also apply to you if you're just looking for personal growth, okay? There are 3 ideas to stay away from that can cause you to kind of close down and not be as effective as you wish to be. The first idea is that your client or yourself is uncoachable. This is a very predominant notion that there are people who are uncoachable. Now, there's a question that people ask, are you coachable? Now, the person might say yes, and they might be difficult. And then the coach might say, oh, they're actually uncoachable. So one of the things that Rapport allows you to do is deal with difficult clients. I said this in the beginning. One of the reasons why Rapport is so important is because it allows you to have a way to deal effectively and efficiently and quickly, right, with recalcitrant clients, or commonly called resistant people. And today's coaching world kind of starts to say it's okay to label these people as uncoachable. And you even ask people, are you coachable? Everybody is coachable from the NLP world if you have rapport. If you know how to get rapport, you can pretty much get it with anybody, okay? The unconscious mind is kind of, in a way, kind of lonely down there, just doing its thing in a mechanical way, and it would kind of like to have some connection, and we need to update it, right? Your computer needs to update its operating system sometimes, and if you don't keep it updated, it ceases to work. Well, our brain keeps working, fortunately for us, but it keeps producing the same old patterns. And that's why it's so important to learn how to get rapport NLP style with its definition. The second idea, and also if you think about yourself, don't label yourself as uncoachable. No, no, no. Everybody is coachable. If you have a desire to grow or to change or expand your repertoire of behavior, you are coachable, right? You are. That's it. It just means that there are things that have to be dealt with. You know, there are objections to every step forward. If you think back to your journey through life, you may have had some objections at moving out of grade school and going into middle school. Or when you finished high school, you may have had some fears or objections or concerns about moving or going on to college or trade school or wherever you were going to do next, looking for your first job. There's always some kind of trepidation there with going forward to the next thing. But that just means that there's some objections there. You don't have a roadmap for how to get where you want to go. That roadmap is in you. It's in you. You do know how to get where you want to go. But you may need some help at uncovering it because it hasn't actually been written yet. And yet you know what it is. That's one of the wonderful things that you keep in your head when you're working with clients and you're establishing rapport. Everybody has everything they need. So you don't want to think of your client as uncoachable or yourself. Secondly, you don't want to think of your client as not ready for change. This is something that we've said for years. I've said it myself. Oh, I can't get them to change because they're not ready to. Well, maybe, but if you really have rapport, you can find out what it is that's stopping the client from taking that next step. If they're not ready, it means there's some understanding, some learning, something somewhere that they need to get before they can take that step. And if you have the skill sets you need, you can help them find it. So it's not that they're not ready. It's that you have to, via rapport, find out what it is they need to ready themselves, right? And it doesn't have to be 10 years from now. It could be in that session, on that day in your office. The third thing to keep an eye out for is that people don't really want to change. Well, usually, if you don't want to change, there's a lot of reasons why. Either you're perfectly happy with what you're doing, right? And other people want you to change, That's a bummer, right? But you're happy with what you're doing. Or you do want to change, but what you have to do to change is too scary, right? Or again, you have no idea what to do to change, but you want to. So there's a number of reasons why, but people generally do want to change. They just don't know how. They don't know what they need to do. It's a process. Change is recreating the way that your client is looking at life according to their desire. And for you as an individual, is altering the way you're looking at your problems so that you can see the solutions that are required to transform the problem so that it's no longer a problem, but actually is now the behavior, the change that you ask for and are free to then live after you get that accomplished. Now, I'm putting a lot on the head of rapport, aren't I? And as a coach, as somebody who's even working with yourself, if you're not working with anyone else, it's incredibly important. If you have a part of yourself that you really hate, I can guarantee you, you are not in rapport with that part of you. You've cut it out of the picture. And that's oftentimes what clients have done when they come in to see you. So your job as the coach is to get rapport with the part that the client has rejected so that you can work with that part at the unconscious level through language, through conversation, to be able to bring that part back on board, okay, and have it, give it a way to become more, reintegrate into the system as a whole, so there's more harmony and more peace for the client and the new behavior that they've asked for. Again, a lot to say on the top of, on the head of rapport, but I am sold on its power. It is an amazing thing. And why? Because all change is in the hands of the unconscious process. So if you can learn to communicate with that process, you can get change faster, more easily, and help the client learn more about their own process so that they can start doing it on their own. You know how they say you can give a person a fish, you can teach them how to fish. So ultimately, what you can do when you work with a client over time is you start to teach them how to fish, right? How to work with their own unconscious process. And that just comes out of working with them over time. How do you get that to happen? Rapport. Okay, so people go to, let me close up here because I'm like right at 30 minutes. Yay, I did it. Okay, people go to a coach usually for help in changing a wide range of things. A behavior, a limiting belief, a strategy, or a debilitating or hurtful notion about who they are and what they can do. So an NLP coach, different from a traditional coach, an NLP coach is trained in the traditional art of skillful inquiry from traditional coaching, plus the skills of how to effect and bring forth accelerated behavioral change. And the core basic skill upon which that rests is rapport as defined here today. So now tomorrow, what you'll get, or later today, probably later today, you'll get an email that will have a link for you to go to a page where you can download the tips for building rapport. Again, there's 7 of them for you to be able to do. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to give me a call, send me an email, go to my scheduler, which will be on that email, and you can click there and set up a 30-minute free consult, and I'll talk with you about it if you would like. Also on that page where you'll go to get your download will be a link to the replay of this video. Okay, that was really fun. Now, let me bring you guys back and see if anybody has any questions. Let's see. I want to unmute everyone, and I want to, let's see. Actually, I didn't want to do that. Oh my goodness. We're going to mute everybody again, and I'm going to allow you to unmute yourself if you have a question. How's that? And I would like to start video. Can you guys start your videos? If you look down in your lower corner, you should see a little camera and it should have a red line through it. And if you do that, and if you don't want to, you don't have to start your video, but if you want to, you can. All right, I'm just asking this here. Allow. Okay. If anybody here wants to come on board, make yourself visible, you can do so, I do believe. I can't get this undone. All right, hang on. Let me look. Entry, allow participants. Well, I don't know how to do that. So anyway, if you have, since we can't seem to do this, unmute. You can talk to me if you wish. Since I can't get us all back on screen. Oh, maybe I can. Nope, can't do it. All right, so I'm going to go in my chat box. I see a chat here. The host has stopped my video access. Yeah, I know, and I can't figure out how to turn it on again. Isn't that annoying? I see mute all. I see unmute, but I can't see how to stop. Ask to start video. Let's see. Christina, ask to start video. Can you start your video? If you look down in the corner. There you go.
The message box that asks me if I want to, and then I click on it.
Elizabeth, if you look down in the corner, I've now asked you to start your video, and the same with Paoletti. Elizabeth will start video later. Okay. And Susie, I'm asking you to start video. So anybody who wants to be on the video, you should be able to now. Look down for the video with the line through it. There's another person. Fabulous. Hi, Susie.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Thanks for coming today, both of you guys. And all of you who've been here and those who can't get on the screen. So do you guys have any questions? Christina or Susie, any questions or comments?
No, just really want to thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice. I enjoy doing it. I hope it was helpful in some way.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
It kind of opened up a whole world for me when I got into NLP, both professionally and personally. It's an amazing. Have you studied NLP at all?
Only with Rog.
With Rog, you're kidding. Oh my gosh. Only with Rog. Rog is a very, very, very old friend of mine who's no longer here, but he's the one who got me into NLP. Wow, that's amazing, Susie. It's nice to know that. And Christina, I know you studied it, right?
Yes. And I think I'm a living example of how your clients will return. You know, when I see you're doing something after 20 years, you know, I'm like, oh, Ragini's doing something. I'm going to go check that out.
I appreciate that. I do. So
yeah.
the point is,
I really appreciate how you jam-packed information into this half hour, and just elegant presentation, and
thank you.
Very good at piquing our curiosity, so we'll actually read the download.
Very good, very good. I'm going to be doing 4 more of these free webinars, 2 in August and 2 in September. And
Great.
And I am starting a new NLP training come in the fall, September 18th.
Oh, great.
Starts. So if you know people who are interested in it, you can send them my way. That'd be great. I got somebody saying something in the chat here. Here it is from Paoletti. I feel very excited to go further in NLP. As you say, it seems it opens a complete new world for me. Yeah, it's amazing. You know, and the person I learned it from is the one that Susie Garrett down here studied from in the beginning, which is Rog, my name cohort. He was called Rog and I was called Ragini. We got these names from our spiritual teacher at that time back in the 70s. Can you believe that? 1977. Wow. Long time ago. Yeah, so if you don't have any questions, the thing to do is to wait for your email that'll come. Go get the download. And if you want to watch this, it'll be up on YouTube, but I'll have the link there for you. And some listener very says, I love the humanity you put in this discussion. Well, thank you very much. I'm very human. With an enormous amount of errors and flaws that flow through everything. I finally decided a few years ago, what the heck, I'll just let myself be human and stop trying to hide it. Be perfect. I don't know, anybody else wanted to be perfect like me? I grew up thinking perfection was the goal. Turned out it wasn't, right? Susie, are you still living in Hawaii?
No, I'm in Chico, California at the moment.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming today. And you too, Christina. And you too, the other people who have not shown up on the screen. Thanks for coming and chatting with me via the chat. Okay. Hopefully you'll show up on the next webinar I'm doing, which is NLP and spiritual healing. And then NLP and the Enneagram. Who knew I would be talking about such things? Not me. I mean, I don't even know yet what I'm going to say. It should be interesting for me too. Okay, no questions at all. Then I guess we'll just wrap it up, and I'll say thank you to all of you for coming here today. I really appreciate your support. And of course, if you know any other people to come to the next ones in August, let me know and I'll put their name on my mailing. Well, I can't do that, but you can send them to the page. You'll get something soon about the next ones as well. And you're doing well, Christina, yes, in your practice?
I am doing well. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm working with the Hendricks Institute now with a team called Restoring Resourcefulness. We're working on a curriculum for first responders.
Oh, fabulous. That's really nice.
Yeah. Very exciting.
Yeah, if I can add any input for you, let me know.
Thanks.
Debbie, I just saw a little note from Debbie Berry, who's somebody I've known for 1,000 years. Thanks, Ragini. I always learn something new from you. Thank you, Debbie. You're so sweet to come. You're just such a wonderful supporter. Appreciate it. Okay, ladies, anything else from you, Susie? Any other comments? Okay, thank you guys very much for coming, and I'll see you again, I hope.
Bye-bye.
Bye.